All right, what's up, everyone, to another video of Full Speed Impulse. Today, we're working on a little CT70, getting this thing fired up again. We did a video a long time ago on it. We had to do some rewiring and all that. Well, it looks like we're doing some more wiring. So first things first, we're going to address what the problem is. So, got our tank, got our seat there. That problem we got is these darn mice. Oh, that's strapped down. Is it? I thought I had, oh yeah, okay, I undid that. Golly, man, they just keep tearing up my wires. So the video today we are doing is showing you guys adjusting your valves and setting timing and all that good stuff. But what I gotta do real quick here is clean this mess up, which means I have to take all this stuff off again, tank, seat, to get down in there. And yeah, it's a no bueno situation, guys. That's it's frustrating. It's definitely frustrating. All right, we're gonna get at this. All right, we got our wires fixed up here, and we're gonna blow this out real quick, clean it up, and then our gas tank. You have these two hoses, and the original design was a for the reserve. It's actually a 2-level tank here, and that's how it far as you'd have your reserve. But we have ours deleted because we just go down the road with this thing. We don't need the reserve. It's tough getting those hoses through here and getting this tank back in because it is a crazy tight fit. So we're gonna mess with that. Hopefully get the tank in and our lines not kinked up, and then we can start getting this thing and checking the valves because they have not been checked in probably over 20 years. So we get the whole bike all together, tanks in there, press. It's really tough to get those fuel lines routed, but we did get them routed. And then we find out that we must have kinked our spark plug wire or something because it's short. And we filled the tank up to the brim, obviously. So now we gotta take it all apart again. Cool. All right, so we got it back together. And we did check our carb. We got clean fuel coming out of it. Doesn't mean that our carb couldn't be gunked up at all, but after so many carb cleans with this thing, we definitely have something else going on. So you have a bolt here on the side that you're actually gonna undo. And you pull that guy out like that. And what that does, it's going to allow you to take this cap off here, which you might still have to pound off a little bit or try to pry off. We'll get a screwdriver, flathead, and we should be able to open it up. Try not to gouge at it with the flathead too much, just because you don't want to mess up the edge and then cause a spot to where oil can leak. And that's going to show us where our cam sprocket's at, where we can see where top dead center's at. And we're also going to pull this cover off here to look at the flywheel. That way we can make sure that our flywheel mark and our sprocket are aligned, showing that there's maybe not like some cam chain slack or stretch that's going on. Because if that was the case, then these would be misaligned. Apparently we only had one screw holding this cover on, and that's the other screw there. Not in the best shape. So we're definitely going to want to get that off and get some good screws in there. Alright guys, so when you're getting ready to time your motor, what you're going to want to do is, I think I already told you guys, but you take the spark plug out so it's easy to turn over. And then you're going to put a socket on this here, which I think is 17 mil. And then you see those, you get these two marks here. You got T and F. You're going to want to line it up with this guy right here. So ours is actually pretty good. And then you come over here, and on your sprocket, you see this little circle right here? You're going to have that line up, which ours is pretty worn. But do you see that little line right here? That's where you're going to line that up. And that will be your top dead center. And then you can start adjusting your valves, which for intake is 2,000. And for your exhaust side is 3,000. What you want to do is actually undo this nut, which To make sure that you actually get it off and you don't round it off, I'd recommend using a socket. It's going to be a 9mm. Once you loosen that off, you're going to want to use a wrench. Again, 9mm. And you're going to want to have something that's open, because what you're going to do, you need a pair of needle nose too. Or there are special tools that will make this process even easier. We just don't own it. Alright, so here's our 2000s. And we actually already adjusted this, and it should be tight to put in like that. If it's not, then you're obviously out of adjustment anyways, or if you can't get it in there, that's also out of adjustment. This one actually was too tight where we couldn't get anything in there, so we could have actually had an issue, and that's why it's not running good. These are some of the first steps you do here to kind of address if you're having issues with your motor, if it's not running right. Carb clean, you know, all that stuff. Double checking your valves. And, you know, moving on to some other things like compression testing and all that good stuff. So anyways, this is in here. And what I would do is that you're going to snug this stuff up. And what I do is I put the wrench on here like this. That way I can tighten the nut. But what you're going to want to do is hold this here with your needle nose. That way you don't spin that any tighter. Because then you're not going to be as far as an adjustment to your valve specs. So that's why you're going to hold on to this here with the needle nose, and then you're going to tighten it with the wrench. And then make sure you go back and double check and make sure you're good. And it's just kind of a little there. And that's actually a little loose, I'm not going to lie. But we're going to roll with it. These motors aren't too picky, so that should be fine. At worst, if we fire it up, it might be a little ticky, and then we know we'd have to tighten it up a little bit. But as far as running, should run just fine. That's pretty good still. That's probably more of a 3000s than a 2000s. But either way, we'll button it back up, and we'll fire it up and see what happens. Same thing with the bottom. Like I said, 3000s, 2000s, and you should be good. Alright guys, we got her running. I can tell where our air fuel mixture screws at on this carb that our jetting's not 100% right. But the fact that you can go from a dead idle, but you can hear it in the exhaust. It's not idling smooth, but it idles. I can let it. Ready? I mean, that's all the response you need right there. Good for a little street cruiser. Oh yeah, you can tell, you know, she's a little smoky. Definitely needs a good cleaning too. And we got no lights. We got no rear light and we got no headlight. I'm pretty sure we had one at the beginning, but I think we burnt out our bulb. That's a whole different issue. Alright guys, so that is how you adjust your valves, and I just checked my air fuel screw out of curiosity, and yeah, it's only like an 1/8 turn out. Maybe it's probably about 1/4, which is crazy because like you should be at like 1 full turn and like 1/4, just like to start out. Anything less, like you need a rejet. But again, like I said, for a little cruiser and all that, you know, going up and down the road, she's good to go, ready to rip. I'm glad we got this thing dialed in. Not having to put any money into it is definitely a win. She definitely needs a clutch though. So we'll do a video soon enough on putting a new clutch in it. But other than that, guys, that's it for the CT70. Well, it's time to get into some other dirt bike stuff. I appreciate you, and you guys know the deal. Until next time, we'll see you later.